This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Coffee with Kenobi. This is the D23 Expo coverage show. I don't really know what to call it. It is really fantastic to be here with all of you. I've had a great time covering the event. I'm about a day and a half into the experience, and just like I did at Celebration a couple of months ago, I thought, well, I'll just record a little bit every day. No big deal. I'll have plenty of time. Boy, that was incorrect. It is very incorrect, but I'm going to try to catch up with you about some of the great things that we did, some of the experiences we have, people we have seen. It really is glorious. As you know, it's at the Anaheim Convention Center, which is where Celebration Anaheim was, and now we've got the D23 convention here. It's really cool to see how it's all split up and separated, because it's the same place as far as the arena itself, but it's broken up so differently that you would never know that this is the same place. And I think that's due to the genius of Disney and the D23 Expo team putting together such an awesome experience. So the first night, I got here late Thursday night. My plane landed a little bit earlier than I expected. It landed at 9:30 p.m. My buddy Clayton Sandel picked me up, and we did our traditional, went to In-N-Out Burger, got a burger, then hung out in the lobby a little bit, and then went to sleep for a long day. Friday, yesterday at the time of this recording, was the big panel. First, there was the Legends panel, introducing all the new Disney legends, including the cast of Frozen. At the end was a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, which was really, really wonderful and touching. His brother, who is actually a preacher, he gave and accepted the award on Chadwick Boseman's behalf, and that was a really, really powerful thing. And I feel like his background as a preacher really added to the power of how his delivery was. It was really quite inspiring and quite moving. I did get a little choked up for sure. Another great thing to really kind of enjoy and experience was the live action panel. I got to see a number of celebrities. I think one of the highlights for me, they were talking about the Haunted Mansion. And with all these things, you get to see trailers and clips before anybody else. Sometimes they only show them here at the expo, and they don't show them later. So that was cool, because we got to see a clip of the Haunted Mansion. And when you think about it, of course you get all the cool cast members that are announced. And then they said, no, we've got one more member of the cast to show you. You can't have a Haunted Mansion without the Queen of Horror Movies. And the Haunted Mansion dune buggy that you're very familiar with comes out and rolls backwards, and you can't see who's in it, and then it rotates around, and it was Jamie Lee Curtis. And I have goosebumps telling you that, because I'm a big Halloween fan as far as those movies go, and seeing her live was really cool. Again, seeing these celebrities, I think that's one thing that makes D23 so unique. You do it at Celebration too, but this is just over so many more things besides Star Wars. You're more likely to see more celebrities and heroes, and I think that's really a nice thing. So then right after that, after seeing all those cool things and seeing the Legends panel, I walked on the show floor very briefly. Went over to see Lou and Becky of WDW Radio and MEI Mouse Fan Travel, talked with them a little bit, which was really nice. And then we just kind of congregated out. Actually, DJ from Lucasfilm and a lot of us, I got to see him, which was really, really fun. It's great to see everybody from Lucasfilm. We went over to the Lucasfilm Exhibit, and they've got some costumes from the new Indiana Jones film, including Harrison's latest Indiana Jones iteration, which, of course, as you all know, you love Star Wars, you love Indiana Jones, most likely, and Indiana Jones is probably my favorite fictional character, maybe him, Spider-Man, I don't know. So seeing them like that was cool. Just seeing that costume in person. There were a couple of stills on the wall showing some sketches of the upcoming film, which was great. So we had a really nice time. We ate it actually at a really nice restaurant called Sweetwater, which is a tiki bar. Got to see my brother-in-law, Bill, who lives in California, too. He's been on the show before. So that was great. And then today was Saturday. I'm actually on the show floor now. This was the big one, right, for Star Wars fans. It was the Lucasfilm and Marvel panel. And we got to see so many spectacular things, including, of course, seeing the trailer for Mandalorian Season 3. And the entire cast was there. I was really impressed by Giancarlo Esposito and how he fired everybody up. how moved Pedro Pascal was great. Dave Filoni. When Amy Sedaris was out there, she was making everybody laugh so hard because she was talking about how they would tell her lines to say, and she had no idea whatever she was saying. She was just reading the lines. And Dave Filoni and Favreau were laughing so hard, like legitimately cracking up. It was really, really, really entertaining to see and to experience. We got to see a lot of stuff from Andor. The cast of Andor was there, which was spectacular. Of course, you got to hear them on the show a couple of weeks ago. And, seeing some footage of things that I haven't seen before, and many people haven't seen before, which is awesome. Also, we got to see some incredible trailer Tales of the Jedi, just 3 episodes featuring Ahsoka and 3 featuring Count Dooku. I hadn't seen any of this. I don't know that anyone has seen any of this, and I really liked that a ton. That was amazing to see. It looks very much like in the style of Clone Wars. The voice cast sure sounds familiar to me. They didn't announce anything, but they sounded familiar to me from the Clone Wars and other Star Wars animated shows. Those are all dropping on one day. Many of you followed along on Twitter as I live tweeted it all, which was great. Appreciate all the support and the retweets and the likes. It helps a lot. Helps to grow our community and our Star Wars family, which was great. I'm sure there's other key details that I am missing. I'd say the Marvel stuff was wonderful. I really liked seeing Secret Invasion stuff, the Ant-Man stuff. Seeing Paul Rudd in person was phenomenal. All of that cast. Seeing some of the new things that they have planned on Disney, on D20 for Disney Plus. The Black Panther stuff is amazing. I cannot wait for that film. I still think that first movie is about as perfect as it gets when it comes to films. But the big thing for me was Indiana Jones. We got to see the trailer, and at the time of this recording, it's not been released. So the only people who got to see it were the people in that room. And, of course, it was, it was insanely delightful. What can I say? And Harrison walked out with Phoebe Waller-Bridge. James Mangold was there. So seeing Harrison Ford again, this sounds like a humble brag. I don't mean for it to be, but this is now 4 times I've seen Harrison in person. I wasn't very close to him this time, but closer than I was at Celebration. And he was so legitimately choked up talking about the movie. So legitimately choked up, how excited he was. And then he goes, well, maybe. He goes, no, wait a minute. And he slashed his hands in front of himself. He says, this is it. I'm not falling down for you guys anymore. This is it for me. And it was just really funny and really honest. The footage it's everything. It is absolutely, absolutely spectacular. I cannot wait to see that movie. Really great. And then at the end, we got to see like 4 or 5 segments of Avatar, but they changed up the room. They gave us all like these super fancy high-tech 3D glasses, and we got to see Avatar the new Avatar the way I think it's intended to be seen, and it's really, really spectacular. Everybody really had a good time with that. It's really amazing what Jim Cameron and his team are able to do. So there will be much, much more coming from me later, but I realized I really haven't recorded much about this D23 Expo experience. Hoping to get some guests on for you, share many more insights. I'm going to head back over to the Lucasfilm booth, and not only is there Indiana Jones stuff, but there's great Star Wars costumes and some things from the upcoming Willow series as well. They did talk about Willow. The Willow cast is there too, and I got to tell you, I didn't really know what I thought about the original Willow trailer that we saw at Celebration. That was fine, but when I saw this, I was legitimately excited. Like, I love fantasy stuff, D&D stuff, that kind of stuff. This looked amazing. So, much, much more to come from me. I will see you all. Why am I so bad at these transitions on these shows? I've only been doing this show for like 9.5 years. Oh well, be back soon. As promised, we've got some conversations coming your way. First is Mr. Lou Mongello. We are live, actually. I don't know if it's live recorded. I'm not going to edit this because, we've got such a pro here with me. We're here in Lou's booth, WDW Radio. This is like, I feel like this is kind of your Super Bowl, isn't it? It comes around every couple of years. What's the prep like for you? Because not only do you have to do stuff for the show and the live stuff, but you're also a massive fan.
So you're right. There's a couple of different types of prep, right? There's the fan prep where we just get so excited to be here and be on the floor, especially after the past 2+ years. And then sort of, there's the booth, and then there's the live video, and then there's trying to go and cover stuff and enjoy it as a fan. So it's a lot of things to sort of juggle all at once, but there's nowhere else I would rather be than right here, right now. I mean, right here, with you, right here, right now.
I was going to say, I could read it in your eyes. So, I mean, you and I, of course, heard that very long panel this morning. A lot of great takeaways. Let's just do this. Let's do Marvel first. What were some of the Marvel things that jumped out to you that you were excited for?
So when I saw Vincent D'Onofrio come out for Echo, I was literally punching my son in the shoulder saying, oh my God, he's going to stay on stage. And if Charlie Cox walks out, and he stayed on stage, and Charlie Cox walked out, I might have actually gotten choked up. Like, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, but I also love Daredevil, so that's the one I'm really looking forward to.
And I thought they were going to end with something like from the Avengers, but they did. They ended with the Marvels, and I was really stoked for that because I think that's a great cast.
Yeah, and I love the girl who plays Kamala Khan. Her name is escaping me right now because I haven't eaten in like 3 hours. She's a fan first. Like, you saw it on stage, and the energy that she brings, not just to Ms. Marvel, but I think the Marvels, is really going to change the dynamic of the three of them coming together.
All right, we're back on the expo floor, pretty much. We just took a little step outside of the exhibit hall. I'm here with my friend, and yours, Beci Mahnken of MEI Mouse Fan Travel. How are you?
I am doing really good. Are you kidding me? We are at the D23 Expo with everything I love all around me. So I'm really having a great time.
It's fun. Every time I see you, you're just happy and because this is quite an experience because I feel like, you're an empathetic person too, and there's a lot of joy at this thing.
Especially this year because, of course, the pandemic kind of slowed things down. This convention goes on every other year. Last one was in 2019. So you can definitely tell from even the Disney people and the cosplay people and just the energy on the floor that something's been missing in their lives and they get to experience again here today. And that's what I'm feeling, and I'm bouncing that joy right back to them.
Because it was usually every 2 years, but then, of course, as we know, everything got pushed back for a while. So now we're here. You were just at Star Wars Celebration. That was your first Star Wars Celebration. It's in the same place, but it's different. I know what I think is different about it. What are the things that you notice that are different about the two conventions?
Well, okay. First of all, there's a lot more Disney here and a lot less Jedi robes, I have noticed. Not everybody's walking around with a lightsaber either, so I think there's a difference for you. But you still do have that same element of fandom. You've got people who connect to something, and in that mutual connection, they form a community. So it's actually much... And as I said that, there's a guy in a Jedi robe and a lightsaber that just walked past us. So,
manifesting.
Exactly. Projecting. However, there's a Stormtrooper too. So apparently we've just gone back in time and we are now at Star Wars Celebration. But you still have that collective love for something that brings people together. So it's actually much more alike than it's not, which I think I enjoy that. Because here you do have the people who love Lucas and Star Wars, but you also have the people who love Marvel, and you have the people who love Disney, and we're all coming together under one roof, and I love that.
That's well said. Yeah. There's like a great vibe. I mean, Celebration, of course, I love because it's Star Wars. It's completely Star Wars. This has Star Wars, but most people who like Star Wars like other parts of fandom, of fiction, of great characters. You and I were just in a Spider-Man panel celebrating 60 years of that character, and that was nice because you could just take off your Jedi robes and just put on your web shooters, and they just went through the history. It was like a class in the history of Spider-Man.
So what was cool about that is I was introduced to Spider-Man via the comic books way back when. But there were elements of his story that I was not aware of. So when they stepped through it, who knew that they actually got married and had a wedding cake in person in New York? I mean, who knew, right? So you knew, obviously. For me, who knew? There was just pieces then that I was able to go, oh my gosh, I had no idea that happened. And all right, this tells you I'm a big Marvel fan. I'm kind of a novice when it comes to Spider-Man, but I always kind of wondered why he changed colors in the costumes. How did it go from red and blue, which I love, to black?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Okay, so there was a 12-issue miniseries called Secret Wars, and while it was out, it came out just one a month, but then the regular comics were coming out, and so they were taking place after Secret Wars. So you had to read Secret Wars to understand why is Spider-Man wearing a black and white costume. Why is the Hulk wearing pants that are shorts instead of long pants? Just all these different things. With Spidey, he got a big tear in his costume in a fight, so he goes into their base, and there's this machine he doesn't recognize, and so it looks to him like it fixes clothing, but it's actually the symbiote, and it gets on his body, and he starts thinking about different shapes and costumes, and he can have any clothes on he wants, and then he just picks a black costume, and then he has it, and then 6 months, a year later, suddenly he realizes this thing is alive, and then you get the whole Venom story.
Yeah. And when they connected it to Venom, I was like, oh my God, that's how that happened. Yeah. Because I'm a Venom fan. I love the contradiction of the nice guy and the monster inside. And I was like, I'm going to eat you. No, you're not. I mean, the constant banter that happens within one guy is incredible. So I am a Spider-Man fan. I'm a Marvel fan. I'm a Lucas fan. I'm a Star Wars fan. I'm a Princess fan. I'm pretty much, this is me. This is me in a big tornado here at D23.
Like if we could take our psyche and make a physical manifestation of it, this is where it is. And by the way, I can absolutely confirm that when they talked about Venom, she started doing the Eddie Brock imitations next to me on the show.
One of the things I do love about this show, though, and I think it's indicative of where technology has taken us, so many more of the booths on the floor are interactive. So you're not just walking in and looking at something you can buy or looking at something on a screen. You're actually participating in so many of these things that makes it worth actually being here as opposed to watching the live streams.
Yes, and there are some things you can't see unless you're here, like the Indiana Jones trailer, for example, which I know I was so excited for that, and in the time of this recording, it hasn't been released yet. What do you think of that?
Okay, I'm an Indiana Jones fan. I love Harrison Ford. When he came out, I was automatically excited for the moment, but then he started tearing up, and that made me emotional. I felt all the emotion coming out of him. It's exciting to see him back. It's exciting to see him at his age. He looks great for his age, but that's a pretty ambitious movie from the trailer that we watched for a man of his age. So I'm very proud of him. I can't wait to see that movie. It's going to be exciting.
I love when he started pretending like there might be one. He's like, wait a minute, this is it. I'm not falling down for you anymore. I thought that was great. Yeah, he got legitimately choked up, which I don't know that we've ever seen in an interview or anything like that. For the Marvel stuff, they're showing Loki season 2, and then the actor who played Short Round from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom is in Loki. There was a picture today that was shared online where Harrison Ford and that actor reunited for the first time after 37 years. That's the magic of D23 and the Expo.
It brought people together, and pretty much all of those panels that carried all of those different casts that came out one after another, some of them hadn't seen each other, and you could tell that you just can't imagine. Well, they were just standing next to each other backstage. Of course, they said hello, but there was legitimately people who were like, "I have not seen you in months," and they run across the stage to hug them.
Pedro Pascal, Mandalorian, did that
exactly, which of course that made me like, "Oh my gosh, it's gonna come," because Baby Yoda. I know, Grogu, Baby Yoda. Loved all those scenes. Got me excited for that to come out again. So, yeah.
Okay, that's a perfect transition to you and Lou's booth. We got MEI Mouse Fan Travel and WDW Radio have a booth. In 2019, you had this big Spider-Man display. Talk to us about, and we've already shared online, of course, and you've seen it, but talk about the evolution of that.
Well, okay, at the very beginning, Lou and I have been sharing a booth since 2009, which was the very first D23 Expo. The very first one, we had booths next to each other, and we looked at each other and thought, this is a small space. What if we remove the wall between us and create an open space for people to actually walk in and talk to us? That was the beginning. The next year we figured, you know what, we need a bigger space, because for here we're not selling anything. We're actually just talking about community. We're inviting people who listen to the show, who are clients of ours, to come in and say hi. So that second year we thought, well, we need something here that's kind of special. So through a mutual friend, we found this balloon artist named John Reed, who is amazing. And every year he's done something really special. So we've had the sorcerer's hat one year. We've had the AT-AT, and we've had a live build of a Groot, of an 8-foot Groot. This year we have Figment. And it's really special for us because, of course, Epcot, Figment. We're hoping maybe we'll get some news about the big purple dragon. We may not. Maybe totally wishful thinking, but we're hoping to put a little bit of that magical, pixie dust out there that maybe we'll hear some Figment news.
But that's not the only balloon friend that you have.
It's not. So when John built the, and a princess just ran past us. Did she lose a shoe? I just want to look.
Oh, good choice.
Anyway. So when he was finished with Figment, I looked at him, I said, could you do me a favor? And he said, absolutely, what do you need? I said, I need a Baby Yoda. And he sat down and created the cutest little Baby Yoda that I've been holding on to and coveting and took pictures with. And, of course, we have it so that people can hold on to it and take a picture with him, too.
And that's actually the first thing I noticed. So, obviously, you're here. Yeah.
You didn't look at the 9-foot purple dragon, but you saw the 1-foot Grogu first.
It is true. So there's two reasons. One, that's how my brain works. I really like Star Wars, Becky. I don't know if you knew that. So that's how I see the world. But also, I came from the opposite side, so I was behind. So I just saw a wall of purple, and I saw a Grogu. So you can pick however you want to.
I'll give you that one. Give you that one.
Okay, fair enough. So tomorrow is the big theme park panel. I'm extremely excited for that. I know you are too. That has a massive impact on you as a fan and also for travel. Mm-hmm. Speaking of travel, at the time of this recording, the Coffee with Kenobi and Mouse Fan Travel Galactic Star Cruiser experience next year, June 12th to 14th. Cabins are going quick. It's exciting.
Yeah, there's only 100 cabins on board any of these sailings, so they're going to fill it fast because people have started to really talk about the adventure and what it's like to be on there, and that it's the worth. Literally, that is, one of the things that always comes up. Is it worth that kind of money? It absolutely is. For anybody who's a Star Wars fan, it's pretty much a must on the to-do list. So people are going to book into that, and they're going to be gone before you know it.
Exactly. And so not only will you get to experience all these amazing things, plus a trip to Batuu and Lightning Lane for Rise of Resistance and Smuggler's Run Millennium Falcon. You can hang out in Oga's. You can possibly build a lightsaber at Sevi's Workshop. And you get to hang out with me and play Sabacc with me and my son Mason. Tom and Corey are going to be there. A lot of you listening have booked, but there's a couple of spots left. I'm sure there's more than a couple spots left. It's really hard to tell. So please don't hesitate. Go to coffeewithkenobi.com/mousefantravel. Please let them know that you want to go on the Galactic Star Cruiser with me and MEI Mouse Fan Travel, June 12th to the 14th, 2023. Hoping to see you there. Becky, always wonderful to see you. Keep on smiling. Hopefully get a little rest, but in the best way possible, right?
Yeah, next time I have to remember to buy like 4 pairs of shoes and switch them out every 3 hours, and I'll be great. But tomorrow is going to be a fun day, and I can't wait to talk to you about it after we learn more.
Welcome back. We are actually here at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland, California. The original Galaxy's Edge, even though there's only a few months separating them, I always think of this as Galaxy's Edge just because it's the first one we got to experience. We are actually in front of the Thai Echelon right now, which is why you might be hearing some of that space ambient noise, but I'm here with the lovely and talented Clayton Sandel. What's up, man?
Hey, this is nice to be back on the show. It's been a while.
It has. Well, your check cleared, so yeah.
Exactly.
We're actually
back on the list.
Back on the list, man. We are enjoying some blue milk. Now, as I've said many times, the blue milk to me is not as good as the green. But last time I was here, I got the spicy green swirl. Today I got the blue Mon Calamari swirl. It is not spicy. It is really sour, and I love it. What do you think?
I liked it. It was much better. That thing you got last time, truly, you acted like you wanted to shave your tongue. It was not a good flavor.
I ended up...
The blue milk is... I got the regular blue milk, which is great. It's very smooth. Very, the green I've never liked. It's too
really
like planty.
Oh, I love it. But it's
it's like socks. Not a fan.
Well, yeah, that's fair. I don't really like drinking socks either. Let's talk about this panel today. You and I were attending the Lucasfilm and Marvel panel.
Yeah.
Just kind of overall reactions and things that jumped out to you.
Well, I was excited to get the first image. It wasn't much, but we did get our first image from Skeleton Crew, Jude Law. It looked like he was, I don't know if it was like a battle scene or I couldn't quite tell what was going on in the background. I guess I should look at the image again. But So that was exciting to see that. Got some great animation. I totally blanking on the name of the series.
Tales of the Jedi?
Tales of the Jedi. Yeah, that looks great. I'm not a huge fan of the animated series, but that one looks great.
That one was probably my favorite besides the last thing that Lucasfilm did, just because I do love Clone Wars, and it very much felt like a part of Clone Wars. And I believe that they said that Filoni wrote all 6 episodes, and they're all dropping on the same day too, which is really cool. We saw an image of a red wielding masked villain that was going to fight a young Count Dooku, and it appears that Qui-Gon Jinn, a much younger Qui-Gon Jinn, is going to be on that. Ahsoka is going to be on. It showed Anakin Skywalker training her. They didn't announce anything as far as the cast goes, but it sounded, and I said this earlier on the show, it sounded like the cast that we are very familiar with. But what about, it said that also the Bad Batch is going to drop in January now. They're pushing it back. 16 episodes. The first season was 22, so it's a little bit less, but I love that series. That'll be fun. What about the Mandalorian stuff?
The Mandalorian stuff looked great. It was cool to have the cast out. They really genuinely seem to be really pumped about this next season. It was great to see Amy Sedaris. It was great. I'd never seen her in person. She was funny and charming, and Katie Sackhoff and
Giancarlo.
Yeah, Giancarlo. He was great. Yeah, very. I mean, he spoke very passionately about how cool it was to be part of this project, but also a part of this galaxy, and how it was very inspiring to hear him talk about it. He was clearly just so pumped to be part of Star Wars, and so it was fun to hear him talk about it.
No, I agree, and he was chewing up some scenery up there.
Yeah.
You can tell he likes the stage, he likes the crowd, and he's terrific at it, very personable. And he said right away, "You have something I want," in his Moff Gideon voice, and people erupted.
People went crazy. Yeah, it was great.
And I thought that Pedro Pascal seemed very emotional and moved by the experience. He was excited about who was backstage. Of course, we found out about a little bit later.
Yeah, he described it. What did he say? He said it was almost overwhelming, the amount of excitement, which is cool when the lead of the show is overwhelmed by the excitement and the enthusiasm for these projects. I think that bodes well.
There was also a great line where Emily Swallow was talking about the armor, and she said more than the armor is said in 2 seasons of The Mandalorian. And Kathy, I don't remember exactly what she said.
Making up for lost time or something like
that.
Yeah,
it was a really clever segue into, okay, I think we need to move on to the next guest.
we thank you, we've heard enough, let's move on.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
And then we did see some things from Celebration, but we saw much, much more today. We saw a ton of Mandalorians, a lot of cool footage there.
Yeah, in fact, there was one shot that stood out where I think it was was it not Bo-Katan, but or maybe it was Bo-Katan who said, "Did you think?" It was asking Grogu, "Did you think your dad was the only Mandalorian?" Like, nope. There's a lot more, so that's kind of cool. It might somehow change the dynamic of the story a little bit in interesting ways. So, that was fun. So there were a lot of stuff, a lot of celebration shots, but you're right. There was new stuff.
And it kind of had it. I mean, I don't know, and we don't speculate on the show as far as this is going to be the last season or not. But to me, it just feels like they're nearing. Like at the beginning, he was finding out who he was, figuring out he was more of a dad is really what he wants to be. The second one was about protecting the child and kind of growing in that relationship. And this one's about apparently returning back to who he is as a Mandalorian. And so there's a lot of promise there. We still don't have a date.
Yeah, we still don't have a date. They said they were in the middle of post-production at the moment. I think Filoni and Favreau both talked about that. So, yeah, probably hard at work on that and many other Star Wars-related projects. But, yeah. So
we got that. We got Skeleton Crew, John Watts, and his partner, who his name escapes me.
Yeah.
They were talking about Skeleton Crew and the fact that they had a whole pitch for it, I think, was neat. I don't really know what to think about that one. I remember the Celebration, they said very much that it is not for kids.
It's about kids.
But it's about kids.
Who are lost and trying to get home or trying to get to safety or something like that. So
as fans, as adult fans, it's whatever.
Yeah.
But you and I are dads, and our youngest are both the same age. How do you feel about that? Because I'm not sold on that. I mean, I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to love it. I'm going to celebrate it. But I really like watching Star Wars with my son.
Yeah. The idea that the idea that you're going to watch a Star Wars that's a little more adult, it's going to have some adult themes, adult sort of settings, and interactions. It's a little strange to think that you might, for the first time, have to sort of think about what you're going to let a youngster watch, because we've not had to worry about that since 1977. And in fact, maybe I was a little too young, but I was 4 when Star Wars came out, and I saw it in the theater, and may have been right there on the cusp of being too young. But at the end of the day, it was an uplifting, universal story. There are some dark turns that Andor is going to take. For example, you and I have both seen the first 4 episodes. I don't think that it's necessarily a show for kids, but I think people are going to have to take a step back, because it does kind of deviate from that idea that George Lucas said, this is for 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 12-year-olds, whatever. But it's a little different. So, but I think also Star Wars has to evolve. I think it can't always be the same thing, and this is just the reality of it being a part of a bigger company where you have lots of different creators bringing lots of different viewpoints to it. And I hope ultimately that's a good thing, because that's the only way it's going to continue to kind of grow and evolve and be different and be interesting.
And that is why people love and respect you and your opinion. That was very well said. No, I think you're right. I think the evolving thing is important. And who knows, when we see it, maybe I'll think, okay, Mason can watch it. I mean, he's seen a lot. He's seen a lot of stuff like that. He's seen all the Marvel stuff, and so I think there's room. Yeah. There's room for seeing that, and I like one thing I've always liked about Marvel is that they constantly grow and evolve, and even though it's all in the same world, tonally, many of those things are dramatically different. Yeah. Some are funny, some are serious, some are melodramatic, some are very intense and violent, some are scary, like the Werewolf by Night thing that we saw the trailer today, which I know
looks really cool. Yeah,
Michael Giacchino is the director, and of course, insanely famous for all of his scores and his music. I know this isn't Star Wars related, but I thought that was really breathtakingly cool and frightening.
Yeah, it looks really cool. It definitely has that old Universal monster movie kind of feel and look to it. This sort of flickery black and white, slightly soft picture in parts. So yeah, looks cool.
Any resistance to the First Order
listen up.
will result in disciplinary action.
Hux is speaking.
Yeah, General Hux is telling us to mind our P's and Q's. We are again right by the TIE Echelon. It's really nice. It's beautiful here. Galaxy's Edge is a wonderful place, but it's a dramatically different place during the day than it is at night. Now that it's a little bit cooler, it's much more hot in California than it has been in a really long time. In fact, there was something of a heat wave, so it's nice to see it cool down. You and I are going to go over to Docking Bay 7.
Get a little tip-yip for dinner here.
A little tip-yip. So we'll be back with a little bit of a food review.
This is Vanessa Marshall, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi.
So as promised, here we are in Docking Bay 7. We're at a little corner area. It's really, really nice. We discovered something that's completely unimportant. The things you sit on that look like, how would you describe them?
They look like giant Folgers canisters or something. They're stools, but I think they would contain. I'm not sure what you would put in these things.
Well, I like that you mentioned Folgers, because that is a deep cut coffee reference.
That big red Folgers thing, but it's it's kind of a squat little stool with a very Star Warsy looking. Industrial sort of seat on top of it. Something that you would see, shoved in the back of the Millennium Falcon somewhere.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. I just remembered the slogan. That's a good catch.
Folgers calf, right?
That's right. It's Folgers in your calf. Calf in your fold. Something. Yes. So we both got the same food. What did we get? We got tip-yip.
Tip Yip Hooray! No, Tip Yip, and what do they call the dessert?
This is like
Venetian or Vintian
we can
mineral mousse. Yeah, Vintian.
And I'm not sure how you would describe it. It's like three small little
it's almost like a not quite pastry, but almost just like a
moussey,
like a shell of some type of It's what it really. The word is not very appealing when I say it, but there's like a membrane, an edible membrane that surrounds this flavored mousse. Yeah, like a gelatin shell, basically. That's a good way.
A gelatinous concoction. Membrane is a really interesting
gelatinous membrane filled with goo. It sounds so appealing, but it's actually very good.
This is why you almost got the Pulitzer, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And there were like three flavors, right? There was like almost like a raspberry, strawberry kind of thing, and then like a sort of blueberry thing, and then a
white.
Yeah, like a but it had like a custardy, but it had like cocoa powder on the inside too. So sort of you got that chocolate kick as well, which is good.
I would say it's kind of refreshing, I think. Yeah. And the Tip Yip is basically just like a fried chicken, like a massive tender.
Yeah, exactly. I think it feels like it's about like maybe like a half of a chicken breast just fried up and on a bed of mashed potatoes and some sort of
that is full of carrots and something green.
Your favorite part, yeah.
Yeah.
Peas and carrots in your potatoes, yes.
Well, I just want the potatoes just as is, but I'm just that guy.
That's how I feel about my blue milk. So now you know.
Now I know, and knowing is half the battle. Wait, that's a separate franchise. Well, so I love getting here. I mean, I know we're not the first people to do a review in this place, but it's got some fun things. The main thing that you were looking for was the Cadu ribs, but they weren't on the menu for some reason.
Yeah, I've ordered that a couple times before, and my son, who's 9, who tends to sometimes be a little picky with food, or used to be anyway, he loved that, and we really liked it. But it doesn't appear on the menu, and it didn't appear on the mobile order app when we tried to order it. So I don't know if that's a temporary thing or maybe they've taken it off the menu. I don't know.
Well, when we run into our next guest here at Disneyland, we're going to ask her. So we'll be right back.
This is Coffee with Kenobi. Oh, pass the cream, would you?
All right, we are back. We had a great time at Disneyland last night. Ate at Docking Bay 7. And I'm here with AJ Wolfe from the Disney Food Blog. And she is, of course, an expert in all things Disney. She is a connoisseur of the finer cuisine, and she's been telling me forever that the Ronto wraps and all this stuff is really, really good. AJ, how are you?
I'm great, Dan. How are you?
Well, I'm much better now that I'm seeing your happy face. Tell me what are some of the foods that you prefer over at Docking Bay 7 or at what's the other one called? I don't know.
The other what? The other place to eat?
The Ronto wrap thingy.
Oh, that's called Ronto Roasters.
Oh, yeah, duh.
Well, I will say when I first went to Galaxy's Edge, the advice I gave to people about eating at Galaxy's Edge was to not do so at all. So, it's definitely not going to be for everyone. They did a lot of interesting things that you wouldn't expect would be in a theme park, which is great. But if you have little kids, there may not be a lot that they're going to love at that particular restaurant at Docking Bay. Ronto Roasters is going to be an easier sell if you take some of the stuff off of it for your picky eaters. But they have a great morning Ronto wrap, which I really, really like. Oga's Cantina, of course, you can head over there. You have to get a reservation to dine in there. Dine. You don't dine, except for the Jell-O shot. Like, that's what you dine on. I think they have like a pretzel now at the one in Disneyland. But that's mostly going to be your bachelorette drinks. It's all pre-mixed, sugary drinks for the most part. You've got some beers as well and some exclusive beers too. So they're the best thing I would say to eat. Oh, and you've also got the milk stand. I don't know how you feel about blue and green milk.
I love it.
You do? That's your thing. You like drinking perfume.
Well, yes, my goal is to try all the variations. So last night I had the calamari swirl, the blue one.
Yeah.
That's really sour.
Yeah.
And I had the green one last time that was all spicy.
Yeah.
And now I felt like I had to shave my tongue after I had that one. That was intense. But I really liked the sour one. I thought the sour one was pretty good. But if forced to pick, I would pick the green every day. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's delicious.
I know it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So tell me really quickly, what are you most excited about for the parks panel today?
Well, I'm hoping that we get a date for Tron. I'm hoping that we figure out what's going to happen on Epcot's 40th, because that's in like a month, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I want to know what's going on then. Of course, we want to know about new restaurants. They did sort of tease a new Tiana restaurant in Disneyland at the media preview here. So there's lots of potential. But I think the only sort of, I'm hoping, guarantee is that we finally get a date for Tron.
Okay. Well, hey, AJ, it's great to see you. I'm looking forward to your thoughts after the panel.
Thanks, Dan.
Hello, friends. It is the time-honored tradition of Coffee with Kenobi to, when you land in Chicago and have to drive a little bit to your house, to record a Closing Thoughts podcast on a convention now. Longtime listeners of Coffee with Kenobi know that Corey and I, when he was the regular co-host on the show, would talk on the way home from Celebration, but now we're not able to do that because Corey didn't come to this convention. It's just me, and so I'm just going to reflect a little bit as I'm driving home. It was quite an experience, quite a great time. I really enjoyed myself at the D23 Expo this year. This was my second Expo. The first one was back in 2019, as I mentioned earlier, I think. And it's kind of hard to remember. It's been 3 days, and you know how it is if you've been to a Star Wars Celebration or any kind of a convention. When these things happen, it's kind of hard to know which way is up, what day is when. When I reflect on the fact that I got into to Anaheim late on Thursday, and now it's Sunday night and I'm driving back home. Thursday, when I got here to California, feels like 3 weeks ago. It really does, because a lot of things happen. And, I'm very much a man of routine, and my schedule was thrown off because I, was covering the D23 Expo for the show. And just seeing a lot of things, talking to a lot of people. And spent some time at Disneyland. It was great. So I'll try to make this a little more focused and worthwhile for you. I feel like I didn't do the Indiana Jones part enough justice. I know still that people haven't seen the trailer. The trailer is wonderful. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm not going to give anything away because I'm sure it will be released at some point. But it really is something that I was just very emotional about it because I got to see Harrison Ford in that amazing hat. There's some wit. There's incredible action. There's a variation of the John Williams theme that is tremendous and appropriate. I don't want to spoil anything. It's just great. There's some great surprises. There's some great fun. And it just, James Mangold and Harrison Ford promised us that, and so did Phoebe Waller-Bridge, that this is very much going to honor and live up to the theme and the tone and the splendor of the Indiana Jones films, the spirit of them. And I tell you what, from the trailer, it sure looks that way. And I kept thinking to myself, this is the first time I'll see a trailer for an Indiana Jones movie with Harrison Ford. And that's pretty wild. That really is kind of a stunner. But something that I really appreciated and treasured, and seeing with all of these rabid Lucasfilm and Indiana Jones and Disney fans was really a special event. So yesterday I was talking. You may have noticed my conversation with Lou Mongello just sort of randomly, abruptly ended, and that is because Lou runs that booth with Becky from MEI Mouse Fan Travel, and he was doing an interview with an artist, a Spider-Man artist. So, and I told him, look, when your guest shows up, we'll just cut off the interview right away. And that's exactly what we did, because he already had something scheduled. He was kind enough to impromptu with me. I got to talk a lot with Lou and Becky. It was great having Becky on, having AJ on. earlier, and then we, of course, talked a lot with Clayton. Had a great time in Galaxy's Edge with him, one of my good friends. Had some fun on Instagram with the blue milk and our little blue milk challenge from Bubo's Milk Stand. It's just been fun. It always surprises me that during the D23 Expo, that when you go to Disneyland, you expect it to be mobbed to the gills, and it wasn't. I mean, it was busy. Some parts were busy, but it really wasn't bad. The highlight for me, and this is a bit of a segue, is the Nightmare Before Christmas Halloween/Christmas overlay of the Haunted Mansion is absolutely, and I mean this, 100% worth a trip to California just for this thing. You cannot believe what it is like. I'd never seen it. I was completely stunned, 100% stunned. It felt like a completely different attraction. This was not like putting some cardboard or some plaster over the existing things for the Haunted Mansion and you say, okay, this is an overlay. No. It took, I think someone told me that it used to take 18 days to get it all together. But I think they've narrowed it down to about 6 days because they've got such a well-oiled machine. But from head to toe, I mean, the decorations from the outside you saw on my Instagram and on the stories I posted in the reels is really spectacular. The elevator that takes you to the ride itself, the technology in there is upgraded and different. I mean, every single thing, the pictures, the ghosts, the theming, the music, the dialogue, the famous dining room place where the dancers are, the final scene with the cemetery, the music, the headless ghosts that are the singers at the end. It's all changed. It's all different. It's absolutely stunning beyond belief. Like it took my breath away. I'm telling you, friends, that holiday overlay of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland is just, I'm so thrilled by it. I'd never seen it. I don't know what else to say other than it is just absolutely wonderful. Going back to Galaxy's Edge, we were in line for Rise of the Resistance, and we just got out because I'm gonna be at Disney World in a couple of weeks anyway, and I really wanted to see the Haunted Mansion thing because that's really, really unique because of the holiday thing. And of course, everything was decorated for fall. There were pumpkins on Main Street, really delightful. I can't recommend it. Disney really does holidays so special. Of course, when I went to Doc Ondar's, I looked at the Legacy lightsabers. They've got a Shadow Darth Maul one. They've got another Darth Maul one. They have a Mace Windu lightsaber. And then over at Star Traders in Tomorrowland, they had new versions of Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi in very different boxes than I expected. At first, when I saw it, I was a little thrown because I didn't recognize the boxes at all. But maybe that's just something unique as far as different packaging for having it somewhere besides Galaxy's Edge itself. It was nice to be able to walk into Doc Ondar's. I haven't been able to do that for a long time because every time you go, the lines are insanely long to get Legacy lightsabers. So that was a nice change. I love that shop, of course. I want to give special shout outs to people I got to spend some time with. My brother-in-law Bill, who lives in California, it was great to see him. I got to spend some time with Colby Mead, the great Colby Mead, twice, which is absolutely wonderful. I got to see my buddy Drew Taylor of Fine Tuning and Light the Fuse, which was fantastic. I haven't seen Drew in far too long, so that was wonderful. Got to spend a lot of time with Lou Mongello and Beci Mahnken, which was terrific. Always terrific. They're just really good people, and I appreciate growing in friendship with them. Got to see my friend Jim Hill that I co-hosted Looking at Lucasfilm with, and his dear friend who is the new co-host of Looking at Lucasfilm, I believe, Brian. It was great to see him. He's such a nice guy. Jermaine Lucier was there. Anthony Bresnikan, got to talk with him quite a bit, which was nice. AJ Wolfe from the Disney Food Blogger, you heard on the show. Can't remember if I hope I'm not leaving anybody out. My apologies if I am. Lots of late nights just talking and visiting and catching up. Great to see some of my friends from Lucasfilm and Disney as well. Special shout out to all of them. I got to talk with Jeffrey Epstein very briefly, who's who runs the D23 Expo and does a fantastic, fabulous job. Really, really tremendous. As far as the announcements go, today was the big panel for the theme parks worldwide. They announced the new name of the Disney cruise ship called the Disney Treasure. It's going to be very adventure themed. They showed sort of an artist graphic of a rendering of what the main entryway lobby is going to look like, which was pretty neat. But it's so early, it's not like there's a lot they can do about that per se right now. They showed a lot of stuff for the Makeover of Splash Mountain with Tiana, and the actor who played Tiana came out and sang 2 songs. That was really, really neat to see. That's another highlight, not randomly, sidestep from this talk about the parks panel, was that when you go to these things, you see everybody. Like when I saw the live action Snow White, Gal Gadot was there. I mean, that was amazing to see her in person. All the Marvel characters, actors playing in the Marvel films, walking out on the stage. It's really cool, and sometimes you're not necessarily really close to them, but just to be in the room with that kind of star power is a really cool thing. I just feel very fortunate. I'm so thankful to all of you, especially members of the Alliance, the CWK Alliance. Because of you, I'm able to do this and live this amazing life where I get to share my passions of education and my love of Star Wars with all of you. And I really can't thank you enough for your support and friendship over the years. And especially if you're a member of the Alliance, you really have helped to make my dreams come true over and over again. And I hope that I'm able to give a lot of that back to you with the show. So thank you so much. The start of the panel, the first thing they did was talk about Star Wars. And to be honest, I was like, oh my gosh, what are we going to see? Is there going to be a new, what are we going to see that's going to be new in Star Wars? And Jon Favreau came out, and I was so excited. I had goosebumps, and they played the Mando theme song. And then the Mandalorian came out with Grogu, and the Mandalorian is going to be a walk-around character in Galaxy's Edge with Grogu. And they showed it, and they showed the Grogu there, and Favreau gave him like a little snack, and Grogu ate it, and it looked great. It looked like the real Mandalorian. I was very excited for that. And then honestly, I was a little bummed out. I'm not going to say disappointed, because we've got the Star Cruiser, we've got the Disney Wish and the Hyperspace Lounge there, and we've got Galaxy's Edge on both coasts, and tons of great new Disney Plus stuff and all that. But I was just hoping, I don't really know what I was hoping for, but I of course I want more Star Wars, and I didn't get to experience too much more of that as far as the theme parks go. So I don't know, I don't want to be greedy, of course. I'm excited for what they're doing. Marvel's going to have a new attraction at Avengers Campus. Every time I've gone to Disneyland over the past couple years, I don't make it over to California Adventure, or for whatever reason, because when I'm there and I've only got one, a small amount of time, I've got to go to Galaxy's Edge. That's like, come on, it's Star Wars, right? You got to do that. But I was thinking, I'd like to slip over to California Adventure. I really wanted to do the Spider-Man attraction, but it was like a private party for Halloween, so it was closed, so I couldn't get in there anyway. So it was okay. Disneyland was still wonderful. At the end of the night, Clayton and I grabbed some corn dogs and just sat at this little private area. It's not private. I mean, anybody can go there, but it's right next to. Gosh, I'm so unfamiliar with the geography of Disneyland. I'm getting better because I've been there a lot over the past couple of years, thanks to the show. But there's like a really nice private area when you're walking down Main Street and you pass all the buildings on the right. There's like a long entranceway, and so we just sat back there at some tables and chatted and reflected on the day and how fortunate we are to live these cool lives that we live. So that was a really nice moment. And then we just walked back to the hotel, hang out a little bit in the lobby. It was great. But I tell you what, I missed all of you, especially if I got to hang out with you at Star Wars Celebrations before. The D23 is really fun. The D23 Expo is incredibly special. I love it. Oh yeah, I got to see, how could I forget, Tanya, Lamb, and Tessa, and everybody in their group that I know because of the awesome Amira Martin. It was great to spend some time with them, sit with them in the panels. That was good. And again, back to seeing Jim Hill. Did I say Jim Hill? I can't remember. It's late. Part of the reason I'm doing this is to help me stay awake while I'm driving, honestly. But it's great to kind of get all these thoughts out anyway. But I haven't seen Jim in person, like actually in person. I don't, gosh, maybe when The Last Jedi came out, because I didn't see him at the last D23 Expo. He was going to go to several celebrations, but it wasn't able to work out. So I got to see him and talk to him and shake his hand, and it's been a long time. So it's really nice to be able to talk to him and see him in person. He's just really warm guy, so that was really nice. Really great blessing. Other main things, I believe, behind Thunder Mountain Railroad at Walt Disney World, we're going to have Encanto, and I believe they said Coco areas too. Maybe even a villains section. I got to look at some of that again. Undoubtedly, when you're listening to this, you're like, well, of course, you probably already know more about it than I do right now. But to be, so I could get back home, get to the airport on time, I had to jump out early, so I missed the end of the theme parks panel, unfortunately. I stayed for the Star Wars stuff. And then I had to race to the airport because I want to get home to my family. I miss them. These conventions are so much fun. But boy, there's nothing like coming home to your family, And I think that's, people ask me a lot this weekend, what is sort of your recipe or your secret to your show? And I don't have a recipe or a secret, but all I know is that I love the show. I love our community. I feel very blessed. But nothing beats family. Nothing beats your family. Coffee with Kenobi's. One of our main slogans has always been family first. You are my family. You are my Star Wars family. But my family of my wife and my boys, that keeps me grounded. That keeps me focused because I do it for them. I do it for you, but I of course I do it for them because the amazing support of my wife. I'm able to do the things that I get to do, that I love doing, and I get to share with all of you. I met so many great people because of Coffee with Kenobi. I mentioned a lot of you a little bit ago. It's just a really exciting thing. So if I were to describe, I do want to show, I will say, you probably saw on Facebook Live, or will see on Facebook Live, because I'm planning on doing it, that the Lucasfilm panel, the Lucasfilm Exhibit area was great because there were so many costumes from Obi-Wan, from Ahsoka, from The Mandalorian, from Andor, and they, they're screen used. You really can't beat that. But the Indiana Jones stuff, the Willis stuff was insanely cool. And I mentioned it earlier in the show, I'm so excited about Willow after seeing that trailer because it just looked like great fantasy that's exciting and thrilling, but I feel like it's got, I don't know, but it just feels like it has a family focus. And sometimes I feel like some fantasy things kind of get away from that aspect. So it was nice to see that, and hopefully seeing the show, that will come to fruition very much. I do want to say, I was thinking about this when I was there. Of course, this week, the Facebook Live show was on Tuesday because, I'm getting home so late on Sunday night, and I knew Monday I really wouldn't be at the mental faculties that I like to be at for that kind of thing. So I really am kind of feeling this call to switch the live show from Monday nights at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time to Tuesdays. I like starting the week out with all of you on Monday nights, but honestly, sometimes Mondays are a little hectic. It's not a really that big of a challenge for me. It's fine. I love it. It's great. But to do it on Tuesdays, I think might just give me a little more time to get things ready, and it will allow me to do some other things in my private life with things with my family too. So I'm really thinking that we're going to make it official. And while this week's live show was Tuesday, I really want to just make the live shows Tuesdays from now on. And honestly, more full disclosure, I'm always going to be honest with you, I kind of want to have my Mondays to watch Monday Night Football with Mason. I really like watching sports with him, and you got to take advantage, especially when your kiddos are younger and they're still living at home. So I think I want to do that. So yeah, I think from now on the show, officially, Facebook Live will be on Tuesday nights instead of Monday nights. I wonder how many weeks it's going to take me to remember that I switched the dates, but it'll still be the same time, 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So we'll talk more about D23 Expo on Facebook Live this week. Any questions you have, please let me know. You know how to get a hold of me. There's so many places, and we'll just do the outro now. You've got me on Twitter at Mr. Zer, MRZEHR, on Instagram, Dan Zer, CWK. You can find me on LinkedIn or on Facebook. And then on Coffee with Kenobi, it's all over social media, including the ones I just mentioned, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. Of course, there's Pinterest, TikTok, and our YouTube channel, which continues to grow. It helps so much. It's really neat being at the D23 Expo, and I had so many people, like my friend Steve, recognize me because of my voice, which I think is just wild. And that's nice, because all those things, when they happen, it helps the show and the community grow. So if you're listening to the show and you love the show, or even if you like the show, please let people know about it. Please encourage them to follow me all over social media, to subscribe to the podcast on their favorite podcasting platform. It helps to grow our reach and spread this message of positivity. I spoke with some good friends of mine and at Lucasfilm, and we were talking about how important this community is and the positivity that Star Wars fans have, and I feel like all of you listening are excellent, shining examples of that, and I appreciate it. You inspire me, and I hope this show puts a smile on your face, makes you think, makes you laugh, and continues to foster that love of this wonderful galaxy far, far away. So thank you again for supporting the show and for following along with my D23 Expo coverage. Looking forward to many more exciting adventures along the way. But I am going to sign off. I'm getting closer to being home and seeing my people, my family, which is going to be great. Thank you again, everybody, for bearing with this rambly, sleepy finish up of the D23 Expo coverage for Coffee with Kenobi. Thank you so much, and remember, this is the podcast you're looking for.
Listening to Coffee with Kenobi, you are, with Dan Z, the podcast you're looking for. This is...
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one